Good evening and welcome to the Cricket Carnival right here on NewsX. I'm Sanjeev Mukherjee. On the show tonight, there's a lot to talk about and of course two very, very special gentlemen joining me right away. In the studio right here with me, Virat Kohli's coach, the one and only Rajkumar Sharma. Also joining us on the satellite link from Ahmedabad will be the former Mumbai Ranji captain Shishir Hatangadi. But before I get to them, there's a lots on the menu that we can get to talk about tonight, including the IPL games which are coming up. First and foremost, the big problem that is troubling, plaguing, say it whatever you want to, the world cricket. What is it? It's about the BCCI's threat to pull out of the Champions Trophy. Now, this is the latest, and you're listening. This is what you're hearing first right here on NewsX. And what could perhaps have a catastrophic impact on world cricket? The BCCI is all set to revoke the 2014 ICC Members Participation Agreement, which in effect will result in India pulling out of all ICC events in the present 2015 to 2023 cycle, starting with the Champions Trophy. Now, NewsX has learned that the BCCI is all set to send the official letter to the ICC on this matter soon. Multiple board members are believed to have discussed the issue via teleconference, and it seems just a matter of time before the BCCI makes its threat of pulling out of the Champions Trophy a reality. Interestingly, the chairman of the Supreme Court appointed committee of advisors, Vinod Rai, is believed to be unhappy with the move by the board of aspirants to revoke the MPA. However, the official decision rests with the general body perhaps, and the COA might not be able to overrule the decision of the SGM. For that, it will have to seek judicial intervention. NewsX has also learned that the ICC is scheduling an executive board meeting before the Champions Trophy, where a revised offer could be made to the BCCI. NewsX, remember, was the first to report on the BCCI's intent on revoking the ICC MPA and thus pulling out of the Champions Trophy. Right, let me bring in Rajkumar Sharma immediately on this. How serious is this threat? And it seems that the members are hell-bent on taking this forward, going ahead. Listen, we've asked for this amount of money, $570 million. You're not giving us, nothing doing, we're not going to play. How seriously do you take this?
I think this is a very serious issue because ICC can't afford to leave BCCI alone. And I mean, this threat or what you may call a bargain has to be done by India, because if they don't do it this time, they'll lose that revenue sharing part, forever, Then they'll have to go by what ICC gives them. Rather, till now we have been dictating ICC that these were three who will get the best of Monty out of that. Right. But I think it's a big decision if ICC and BCCI pulls out.
At the outset, let's forget about what the BCCI might do and what actually when it will do. But just to think about it, an ICC tournament. Everybody knows India is not only the biggest market, it's the biggest, the broadcasting revenues come because of the India games. India pulling out, that could be a crippling blow, not only to the ICC but also to the host broadcaster. They stand to completely lose a lot of money if India actually does go ahead and pulls out of the Champions Trophy.
That is bound to happen, and that is why India is able to threaten ICC, because as I have heard that all India matches are sold out for Champions Trophy, and it will be a huge loss to ICC revenues and to the world cricket. And I don't think there will be any interest if Indian team is not there in Champions Trophy. We are the champion last time, and as it is, India has got a lot of following, and everybody waits, and the opener as well for the particular that match for India and Pakistan. Everybody is looking for that match, and if India doesn't go there, there will be no charm in Champions Trophy.
Absolutely, a Champions Trophy without perhaps the champions India. But I believe we are still trying to fix the video link with Shishir Hatangadi. I believe he's still on the phone line with us. Shishir, welcome back to NewsX. You make your official debut tonight on a sports show. Good to have you here. Rajkumar Sharma is also here. But without any further ado, let me ask you, it seems the BCCI is pretty serious about the threat, and the threat could soon become a reality. The members, as I just read out the news out here on the right at the beginning of the show, the BCCI members are all set to send the official notice to the ICC revoking the ICC members' participation. Official notice to the ICC revoking the ICC members' participation agreement. It seems to be all over, isn't it, Shishir, as it stands now?
Well, Sanjeev, you know this better than most, and I just need to reiterate what you're saying. The fact is that this has been brewing for a while. I think methods have been tried. People have taken different routes, but the fact is that it's all boiling down to monies and monies that, in a sense, are justified. But the fact is that when you try and isolate yourself on issues like these, in a sense, you're throwing the baby and the bathwater out. And what one needs to realize is, we can cope with bereavements in life. So if the ICC gets used to India not playing for some reason or the other, we might just find ourselves isolated. And when isolation happens, it's a matter of getting used to it. And who's going to suffer at the end of the day?
Right.
Cricket, Indian cricket, and of course cricketers.
Yeah, of course, cricket will suffer at the end of the day. But Shishir, I'm not a jingoistic person. I'm not a jingoistic television anchor. I hope you agree with that. But Shishir, considering the ground reality at the LOC, it's highly unlikely that India will even agree to play Pakistan in the Champions Trophy. I'm not raising, the jingoistic decibels, as I say. But yes, you talk about isolation, but why do you forget the money power, the muscle power? Shishir, you've seen so many international cricketers, and as Rajkumar Sharma will also agree with me, there's so many international cricketers from other countries who are preferring to play in the IPL for the $1 million, the $1 million, instead of playing for their country. Chris Gayle leads that brigade, and who says, who knows, what if BCCI actually does pull out of the Champions Trophy, gets another mini IPL in place of the now defunct Champions League T20, and again you have the Chris Gayles and the AB de Villiers coming, you have the crowds back thronging the stadiums, and the BCCI will be laughing their way back to the bank, Shishir.
Yes, but there will be, you're right. I mean, there is one option that, obviously you preempt, and I think the BCCI also preempts. You won't say it without knowing what is happening in those ivory towers. But the fact of the matter is, then there will be pressure from each board to tell players that, this is a rebel league. It's happened in the past. Haven't we heard of that? And it's a rebel league, and if you go there and play, then the chances are you'll have to abort your international career or surrender it, because that is a call then players who are going to be at the end of their careers will probably take, which will mean that the creme de la creme won't be there to play in the so-called league that we're talking about. And, then again, there are issues that will come up. So, all in all, yes, there is a possibility, but the danger is then the isolation goes further deeper into the forests, and that's something you don't want, because once you're into the deep forest, to find yourself out, there's no GPS maps in cricket, you don't find yourself out of it. And sadly, what will happen then is the other member boards will say, you go to India and you will be in trouble. So it's going to have a cascading effect, Sanjeev. These things, right. We've seen it in the past. The danger is find a mid-path and get on with the game.
Right. The spirit of Kerry Packer is perhaps somewhere still alive and haunting cricket administrators. Who knows? Are we seeing part 2 of World Series cricket, something which happened in the middle and late 70s when we saw a huge influx of foreign stars all over the world going to play there, and the rivalry between Kerry Packer and the Australian Cricket Board. We'll keep a close watch on that. But Shishir, hang on. Rajkumar is still here. Let's now take our viewers to the other talking point which we're going to talk about. And this one is back from the field. Trust me, it's not about the administrators or the champions. So this is about the IPL, the cricket carnival we're talking about. IPL 10's costliest player, Ben Stokes, justified his astronomical wage package with a scintillating 100 to single-handedly lead the Pune Super Giants to a 5-wicket win over the Gujarat Lions in Pune. Remember, he was bought for a whopping 14.5 crores. Stokes, who walked into bat with the score at 3 down for just 10 runs, produced a stunning assault on the Gujarat bowlers, staying on till the end to take his team home. Power and timing were the hallmark of his knock as he clubbed 6 sixes and 7 fours, remaining unbeaten on 103 of just 63 balls, with the majority of his shots in front of the wickets and completely cricketing shots. Let's now listen into his skipper, Steve Smith, before we come back to discuss Ben Stokes.
That was an amazing innings. Under pressure, came in at 3 for nothing, and to play the way he did. He timed his innings beautifully, he took the game on at the right time, and yeah, fantastic knock to get us home.
Right, we've just about heard about Steve Smith. In fact, he says that he told his owner that it doesn't matter, you can go to any deal. Ben Stokes has proved to be not the surprise package, but quite the X factor for the Super Giants. The moment he clicks, the team is winning, and winning in such convincing fashion, Raj.
I mean, he deserves that money, you know. That is what he should.
Okay, how much? Okay, let me let me try and put you on the spot. How much is 14.5 crores?
That is,
I can never think of it.
Yeah, that is a huge money, but I think the way he played and the way he had his shots yesterday, I mean, he thoroughly deserves that money. They were struggling at 3 down for 10 runs, and after that he got 100 on 60 balls. That was tremendous hitting, you know, and hitting all over. And as you said, hitting in front of the wickets, you know.
Yeah.
He was playing
Proper cricketing shots, right in the wheel.
Yeah, yeah. Tremendous batting, you know, and with a lot of power and, you know, timing. Brilliant batting, I would say.
Right, Shishir, I'm sure you will agree with Rajkumar here. And, you know, before you go on to talk about the fact that, you know, such all-rounders help, because he, as they used to say in the golden days, that he can bat a ball a bit, he can bowl a bit, he can field a bit, he can do everything a bit, and the bits are adding out to something which is really working well for the team. A word perhaps for the owner, because Steve Smith said that I told the owners you must go and shell out as much as you can for Ben Stokes. Remember, Shishir, Sanjeev Goenka, the owner of the rising Pune Super Giants, he's also the owner of CESC, an electrical company in Calcutta, to which I pay my mother's electric bills. But for a change, perhaps even the owner was electrified with this savage assault brought up by Ben Stokes last evening.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's no question. There's no question of the fact that you know, sometimes you feel in a sense gratified when you pick a player and pay him such a high salary. You know, it's like any profession, when you get that salary and you suddenly realize that, you know, it's value for money. I mean, you got somebody who's winning your games. Now, this is something that often happens in this Moneyball process of the IPL, that sometimes it's justified.
Moneyball process of the IPL, that sometimes it's justified, sometimes it cannot be justified. We've seen, you know, misses in the past that don't really help the team management, and a lot of them get sacked. But the fact is that when you pick somebody who has more than one discipline, a multi-dimensional contribution, it makes a lot of sense for the management to say that, you know, either it's this batting, bowling or fielding that can help you win games. So to put a price point to a value of a player is you know, like looking into a crystal ball. But the fact is that you can always justify it by saying somebody has delivered numbers for you.
Right, somebody's delivered numbers for you. And finally, our engineers have delivered Shishir's video to us, so we can now see Shishir Hattangadi. He's joined us. You heard him, his voice now. Now we can see him also.
Yeah, okay.
But before we get back to Shishir, I'm sure Rajkumar will agree with me how much Virat Kohli would perhaps have missed somebody like a Ben Stokes for RCB. But before we come back to that, let's now listen in to what Ajinkya Rahane had to say. This is a NewsX exclusive. We had spoken to Rahane a short time back, and this is exactly what he had to say.
Horrible.
Let's now listen into Ajinkya Rahane.
ये देखिए, माहौल काफ़ी अच्छा है और टीम काफ़ी कॉन्फिडेंट है। इस फॉर्मेट में इम्पॉर्टेंट होता है कि आप जब क्लोज मैचेस जीतते हैं तो मतलब आपकी टीम के लिए बहुत फ़ायदा होता है। और अगर आपने देखा होगा, हम बैंगलोर में काफ़ी क्लोज मैच जीते थे। मुंबई के साथ जो मैच हुआ था मुंबई में, वो एक अच्छा मैच हुआ था। आई थिंक मेरे ख्याल से बैंगलोर मैच के बाद एक अच्छा मोमेंटम बना हमारा। तो मैं कॉन्फिडेंट हूँ कि हम ज़रूर प्लेऑफ में जाएंगे।
But the fact, you know, staying on with Ben Stokes, Rajkumar, how much of a person, how much it would have been, just one cannot help but think of simply imploded. Perhaps they were missing something like a Ben Stokes, an unknown quantity as far as the IPL is concerned, but someone who could have turned on the tap as and when he wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, he would have been an asset for any team. But if you look at RCB, they had the match winners, in form of Chris Gayle, AB de Villiers, Virat Kohli himself. So, I mean, they had that batting lineup which didn't click this time. And initially when they started, Virat didn't play 3 games. AB was not there. And unfortunately, Chris Gayle was not there in his full flow. So, I mean, that they never got the momentum this year. And had there been a player like Ben Stokes who would have taken them, through in first few matches, they would have got the momentum. And everybody knew that they had the potential, but somehow they didn't click as a team.
Right. Shishir, if you can hear me, I hope you can, because we can see you. I hope Shishir is able to hear us. Well, he's actually nodded his head. So, Shishir, now you can look a little bit more happier.
Yes.
Because we are happy. We can see you back on air. So is Rajkumar Sharma. He's also happy. Shishir, Ben Stokes, terrific addition to the team. But tell me, Pune Super Giants, they've completely changed the game as far as their performance is concerned over the last few matches. And not just about Ben Stokes. Everybody seems to be contributing as far as this particular team is concerned. Playoffs is just a matter of time for them.
Absolutely, and you made a very valid point as to why Pune is picked up. If you look at their team, there have been contributions coming from understated players. And when I say understated, when you pick a team, you don't expect some players to deliver for you, and generally you look at the Indian uncapped players and say, okay, they'll contribute, but they're not going to be a big contributor in that sense. And you have this young guy called Tripathi who's performed consistently. Now, that's a big boon for them, because when Ajinkya has not hit his straps well, you have somebody who's at top of the order who is delivering numbers. Now, these are things that are important, very important from an Indian Premier League perspective, that, some understated, unknown players who come out of nowhere perform for you and they deliver for you. And this is where then the big ticket players will obviously have their big say in a 20-over game or 40-over game, and that will sort of change the course of a result. And now when that happens, you will get a Pune rising very fast in the ladder. And that, what we've seen, they've upset Mumbai Indians, which is a formidable, settled team. And you saw what they did yesterday. They sort of pulled out a win from a hopeless position, if I may say so. Now, these are indications that the team, find that word momentum very cliched, because, momentum can come in a matter of 3 or 4 overs. It doesn't have to be a win in the last game. It's more in that passage of play that you can have momentum and just change the course of a game. You were 4 down for not very many, and suddenly momentum struck. And, we got Ben Stokes. On a lighter note, I think the Gujarat Lions will be saying, they got beaten by a Ben, and Ben is a lady in Gujarat.
Yeah, they might be actually saying, Ben Stokes, danda leke maru che. Shishir, come on. Where are your funny one-liners?
Not danda, but certainly a cricket bat.
Definitely. Ben has stoked the fire for the rising Pune Super Giants, electrifying this competition with what a fantastic knock that was against the Gujarat Lions. On that note, it's time for us to take a short break. When we come back, what are we going to talk about? Well, the Hyderabad team, they're gunning for another easy victory, because right in front of them, the Delhi Daredevils, who, God knows, will they have the spine to pick themselves up from their 5-game losing streak. That and much more coming right after this very short break. So stay right here. This is NewsX.
It's a good delivery, full of legs.
Welcome back to NewsX right here, and we're counting down to the Delhi versus Hyderabad game. And what are we looking at? The struggling Daredevils look to snap out of the rather embarrassing 5-game losing streak as they take on the upbeat defending champion Sunrise Hyderabad at the Feroz Shah Kotla tonight. Now, bowled out for 67 in their last game that saw them slip to the bottom of the table, Delhi has largely been let down by poor batting and will be looking to bring in Marlon Samuels as they look to pick up the pieces and perhaps restart their campaign in a certain way. The worries compound with skipper Zahir Khan unlikely to make the playing 11 due to his hamstring injury. Now, David Warner, on the other hand, after a sensational knock against KKR, will be looking to do an encore as Hyderabad, on the brink of qualifying, look to consolidate the position at the top of the points table too. The very experienced Rahul Dravid, who's engineering the Delhi Daredevils campaign, must be scratching his head in dismay. Let's now listen in to Rahul as to what he exactly had to say about the Delhi batting performance, or rather, the lack of it.
Really disappointing. Yeah, disappointing. I just think I don't know. There's not much to say when you get out to 67 and they chase it, no loss in 6 or 7 overs. So nothing much to say other than the fact that we were pretty disappointing on the day in a lot of our execution, and our batting just wasn't up to scratch.
Right. The news coming in from the centre is that the Daredevils have won the toss and will bowl first. We'll talk about the team changes in just a bit, but before that, let's bring back our guests in, Shishir and Rajkumar. Rajkumar, to you first. How do you come back in a tournament like this? You've already played 8 games. You've lost 5 on the trot. You're coming into this game. If you lose another one, you're virtually out. You can still make the qualifiers, the playoffs. One doesn't know. Looks impossible right now. What do they really do now?
I think they have to be positive. Their batting has not done well, and with the youngsters like Shreyas Iyer, Karun Nair, Rishabh Pant, and Sanju Samson, I mean, they have none of them have been consistent. So one has to take responsibility to play all 20 overs and take the team along. Somebody should be playing the sheet anchor role for them, which nobody has taken the responsibility. I believe there has been lack of application, especially in batting. So I think they should be positive, and people like Rishabh Pant, if he can play a stunning knock, you never know, they can win any match.
Momentum and moments. We talk about momentum in the longer format. It's moments as far as T20 is concerned. Let's now show our viewers how exactly the Sunrisers Hyderabad celebrated, and I hope, Shishir, you can see the electrifying knock by this gentleman called Mr. David Warner. Let's look into this video, special video.
Fantastic. I think winning's always good. It's gained momentum, and what can I say? Another packed house here at in Hyderabad, and we thank all the fans for coming out and supporting us. I know the next 2 home games are going to be massive for us, and we wish everyone to come out and support us again like you did tonight.
It was David's third. Keep going. An unbelievable innings. He leads in the front. Congratulations, Davey. Well done, mate.
I'm sure Shishir wouldn't mind a bit of this cake, right now. Shishir, didn't the start of the celebration perhaps sound like, they were doing a victory jig like Aussie, 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 something which we've seen coming from the Australian dressing room. A lot of Australians there in the SRH unit, of course, Warner there, they were celebrating him, but it looked very, very similar to an Australian celebration, Shishir. Right, we'll get back to Shishir in just a bit. Rajkumar Sharma, terrific visuals there, and Yuvraj Singh, he managed to do what others wouldn't have perhaps dared on the captain's day, to celebrate and smash the cake on his face. It's good to see. It's something we talk about, the bonding between international and Indian players, but it's good to see whenever we get to see this.
Yeah, definitely. And Yuvraj had been a star himself, so he can afford to do that. Youngster might not have tried that, but I think it was a good celebration, and why shouldn't it be like the captain has led from the front, and the type of inning he played was tremendous, I would say.
We're completely out of time, I believe. I'm told by my producer, suddenly woken up and is telling me that we're completely out of time. So just a quick word, Daredevils who won the toss will be bowling first. The changes are interesting. Angelo Matthews and Jayant Yadav have come in for Sam Billings and Shahbaz Nadeem, while Sunrisers have brought in Deepak Huda for Bipul Sharma. Who are you keeping ahead? Which one, Delhi or Hyderabad?
Obviously, Hyderabad has got a advantage because they have been playing so well, and Delhi, on the other hand, is pretty low, and they really need somebody to lift their spirits.
well, one would perhaps try and remind the Delhi players of Delhi Ka Laddu, the special joke about Delhi Ka Laddu. We will not do that. We'll take a break. We'll say goodbye at this point of time. Thank you very much, Rajkumar Sharma, and of course, Shebi. Unfortunately, lost his video link. We'll be back tomorrow again at the same day, same time with this show, Cricket Carnival. Remember, this is NewsX. Keep watching. Goodbye.
It's a good delivery, full of legs. That's gone for 6 runs.